So thought I'd go through a bit more about this machine. So it says, just sit and knit. It's easy. No, not so much. No, it's not. It also says, for fast professional results. Now, this is a very basic machine. I mean, I'm not a professional. I don't know. Does it look professional? Yeah. Last time I tried to open the box, I managed to fling the whole thing on the floor. So I'm going to pause it and open it so that doesn't happen again. So I've opened it. It hasn't fallen on the floor, which is good. So first thing is, this is a Singer SB100. For some reason, I was unable to register this. So there you are. We had a flood. If you're wondering, we had a flood. It was bad. So this is the machine as I received it. It came, I'll just show you, with all the polystyrene on it. There was an elastic band securing the carriage. This had never been out of its box. It even came with this cute guarantee registration, where it says, return the machine to the retailer or the Singer shop from which you bought it. Now, I literally bought this out of the back of a guy's van in March the town, not the month, in Cambridgeshire. I don't think he would be happy to see this again. Certainly his wife was delighted to see it gone. So there you go. So it would be funny to fill this guarantee registration out and send it to Singer, who don't really exist in this sense anymore anyway. So that would be funny. So here it is. Came with all the original kit, also these weights that I have made subsequently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, set it up, put some knitting on it and show how it works. Also, you are saying to yourself, hey, she said she was going to finish an Intercity 125 jumper on this. Where is that jumper? And I will tell you, I ran out of yarn for like the final 5 centimeters, very frustrating. And I ordered some more, but I was not as clever as I think I am because I guessed at the colour of yarn rather than checking. I ordered the wrong colour, so I've got that, but it's the wrong colour. I ordered more of the correct colour, which will come tomorrow. And tomorrow is the day I will hopefully finish that jumper. I don't know why I'm doing this anyway. So I've got a different jumper that I'll show you and I'll set that all up and then go through how I've been doing with this, my problems with it, and should you buy one if you can find one of these. The other thing I wanted to say was there's not that much out there about this particular machine, and the reason I think that might be is a lot of the documentation that was created in the last few years about these machines generally has been from the US. And I don't know if this was ever really sold much in the US. So there's not much out there about how to do anything with it. But having said that, it's not that hard. Getting used to how this thing works is quite tricky, but the actual mechanism isn't very difficult. So even if you can find nothing else about this machine apart from the PDF version of the manual and that one video, which was super, super helpful, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was really useful. You can probably work this out as you go along. Probably. My other tip is with these needles, they are surprisingly sharp and they are hooked. If you get your finger on them, I think it's now healed, it will produce more blood than you ever thought possible. So treat this with respect. They are surprisingly sharp, and because they're hooked, they get caught right in your hand, and be very, very careful. They also, if you're wearing anything over your wrists, they will hook on anything you wear and rip a nice hole in it. So there's a cashmere jumper I've got that will never be the same again after being caught in here. So, bare below the elbows, please, when you use these things, or, well, you'll find out why. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and set this up. Right, you find me having set this up, also having, as I said, I did miss a couple of these, that took a while. I've done a couple of rows, just checking. So I don't know if you can see this here is, I think this is just an extraneous needle. Doesn't look like I've missed a stitch, so I think that's just been pulled out. So I'm going to clip this weight back on. So this is the yarn I'm using. So unlike a more advanced machine, I don't have the tension arms or anything. I've just got to physically lay the yarn across. This has got these little screws, which you can see. One of these fell off. I think I sucked it up the vacuum cleaner, so I've just had to put another screw in. It seems to be fine. I have improvised weights. It seems that the answer to just about every problem in machine knitting is you need to hang more weights. So I think I'm going to see if I can rustle up some more of these at some point. So I've laid it. If my arm is over this, I'm sorry you have to see my arm. Need to just check that all of these are open. I'm going to bring it across. Sometimes I have to give it a bit of welly. I'm going to bring it across. Right, after each row I do like a visual check, because even with all these weights I think it's still not enough, and I do find that some stitches are not completed and I have to adjust them. Sometimes stitches fall off and I have to go and redo them, which is a pain. But I literally just did a row. This is 100 stitches of stockinette, so I've just did a row of 100 in a couple of seconds. So we're going to go back. Another row. Check, that looks good. Lay it over again. Sometimes it sort of jams a little bit. I think that's where the needle hasn't quite made a proper connection. Sometimes it gets really stuck, and I find the way to free that is I just gently pull down on the work. That seems to usually free it up. Sometimes you just got to unscrew the whole thing. It's a tangle and a disaster. I do actually see here, yeah, that it has dropped a stitch, so I'm just going to use this hooky thing to hook it back up. This drops yarn is, as it goes, it's pretty nice. It's quite splitty. In my opinion, it's quite splitty, but I think it was never made for this purpose. So I'm just going to use this hooky thing, hook them back on. There we go. The other thing is staring at this for a while does your eyeballs in. Honestly, I have to go and look at something else for a while after I've been using this for a prolonged period. So we go again, just check that's in properly, pull it down, go over, okay. And then we go like this. And you start to get a feel of when a row has gone well and when it has not. So that seems fine. There we go. I think I need more weight in the centre, so I might go and hang some more cutlery off here. And over again. So I hope this is... Yeah. I hope this is quite informative. I'm going to just show how it looks. So this is the new work. This is the old. As you can see, it's I'll show you the front later. It's a London bus, an old classic Route Master from that book. Every few rows you need to rehang these weights. I'm sure anyone who knows about machine knitting is watching this. Well, they're not, because no one's watching this. But if they were, they'd look at it and they'd be screaming at me about this. Oh, you've done this. You should have done that. But, sometimes I feel, especially with something like machine knitting, that it feels like you're rediscovering an old technology, like you've discovered some steam engine in your shed and there's no documentation. Nobody remembers how these things work, and you've just got to kind of work it out for yourself and find some community where they understand how this works. And you find sometimes with some problems you have, nobody knows. I think my mother had one, but she's not here to ask. My husband's grandmother had one, but she said she used it twice and never bothered again. So I wonder if my cat is playing with the box. There he is. I wonder if these were marketed to people as a quick, easy way. You can knit clothes for your family. You never need to buy a jumper ever again or a sweater ever again. You can just use these, just churn stuff out for your family. And I feel that perhaps the learning curve was too steep, that casual people who maybe just want to knit a scarf or two while they're watching TV or whatever in the evenings, and they bought one of these at some substantial outlay. This cost me £60. This was, even a cheap basic one like this was, this was not cheap in the 80s. Not at all. And they bought one, they thought, oh, great, and they've got this image of themselves just going back and forth, churning out beautiful sweaters for their whole family and gifts for family and friends. And you get it, you realise that it takes a lot of work. Like, I tried to do, not this entirely, I tried to do the train on the machine, and it took as long as doing it by hand, as long. And it was just such a pain. I just undid it all and did it again by hand because it just did not feel worth it. So I feel that the reason that we don't get these so much anymore, you don't find them very much anymore. It's not like with hand knitting. You could ask anyone. There's tons of books, tons of information out there. A lot of people knit. They know how to knit. They know how to knit very complicated, beautiful things. These things, it's like there is a black hole of information. And I think that is because most people who bought one barely used it. And the people that did, it was technical, they're professional. It's a different level of skill. It's a different level of information. And those people, this was before the internet, or before the internet we have now. They couldn't share this info with anyone. They didn't publish it, at least not in anything that's readily available nowadays. So then you get these kind of machines lost in time. Why was this? It was never opened. Was it an unwanted gift? Did someone buy it and realise they took one look at this manual and thought, oh, there is no way at all, I'm not using this? Was it maybe it was Mother's Day yesterday in the UK? Was it a Mother's Day gift? And the recipient, I'm assuming it was a woman, it almost definitely was, let's face it. And, she looked at this and thought, what is he thinking? Why did he get me this? Oh, for goodness sake. And just chucked it in the loft and forgot about it, So are these worth it? Maybe. If you're going to do something like this, if you're going to decide that a 1980s book of silly, cheesy knitting patterns is worth your time, but you cannot be bothered to churn through rectangles of stockinette for hours and hours and hours, then yeah, maybe. But I keep talking around in circles, but I do feel it's so fascinating how so much of the info about these things was just lost. It went into a memory hole. The people who use these casually maybe aren't with us anymore. don't remember. Certainly my husband's grandmother does not remember this. Vaguely, maybe I knitted a sweater or two. I can't remember, she says. So sometimes I use this and I feel like I am the first person to ever use this. This machine is probably almost as old as me. And, I like that. So I hope that makes some sense. It's a bit rambly, but I'm going to finish the front today, do the sleeves, sew it up, and I'm going to show you the front at some point. If anyone's watching this and they have a suggestion because it's got a space for the number of the bus, I'm inclined to have it be the N5, which is the night bus that goes nearest to my house. But if anyone else has any favourite bus number suggestions, that would be interesting, or anything at all, really. So I need to fix that. So anyway, that's this for now. And thank you for watching if you did. I know maybe there's a double-digit number of people watching this, I hope. If you've got any questions, I'd be interested to know. And thank you for watching.